Modern NFL offenses think pass first on nearly every down. That aerial focus has made gods of quarterbacks with lightning-quick throwing motions and turned wide receivers into end-zone deities of a different stripe, with the dance moves to prove it. But the offensive evolution of pro football has also necessitated revolution at other positions. The mud-caked, run-stopping middle linebacker, once an archetype of an NFL defensive player, has morphed into a versatile, savvy multitasker who also rushes the quarterback and defends the pass. Safeties have been forced to develop hybrid skills, sprinting the length of the field alongside fleet tight ends and charging at the line of scrimmage in run support. Fullbacks are still hard-nosed workhorses, but now they come in all sizes and with disparate skill sets. The list goes on. The slot cornerback, formerly a reserve, is now a de facto starter. Interior offensive linemen, forever faceless, are prized and celebrated among their peers. So, yes, as usual, glamour boy quarterbacks get all the attention. But the game is changing at myriad positions. You just have to know where to look. A guarda's job used to be to get in the way a burly body creating a sliver of daylight for a running back or a stand-tall guy holding the line against a surging pass rush. Quentin Nelson of the Colts much prefers to push on rushing opponents backward until he falls on top of them, the proverbial pancake block. Although sometimes even that is not enough for Nelson, a rare rookie All-Pro selection at guard last season. He enjoys sitting on someone after putting them on their back, like a lion in the Serengeti pridefully sitting on his prey, said Brian Baldinger, a former NFL offensive lineman who is now an analyst for the N.F.L. network. Teammates have said Nelson comes back to the huddle afterward with a smile on his face, which Nelson disputes. I definitely enjoy it, wouldn't T say I get a smile on my face, Nelson said. No time to get all happy about it. There's always the next play. Nelson was the 6th pick of the 2018 draft, an unusually lofty spot for an interior offensive lineman. He was only the second to go that high since 2001. But the days when guards and centers were just guys inserted to plug up the middle while on the edge tackles were fawned over and cultivated have ended. Especially if someone like the 6'5", 330-pound Nelson, a unanimous All-American at Notre Dame, is available. With NFL teams now putting some of their biggest, strongest, fastest pass rushers in the middle at nose tackle, you better take someone like Nelson with the 6th pick if he's there, said Bob Wiley, who earlier this year left the Cleveland Browns after nearly 40 years as an offensive line coach in pro and college football. He's one of the 2 or 3 guys in the league who can execute a one-on-one block, and with no help, really knock his guy back. To Nelson, it's the imperative of what he called a close combat. I try to impose my will on my opponents, he said. If your man is consistently not making plays, he'll get frustrated. His motivation goes down. You can see that. Those playing behind Nelson, most notably the passer, reap the benefits, which nowadays is usually the overarching objective. Nelson certainly should make life easier for Jacoby Brissett, who inherited the starting quarterback spot when Andrew Luck suddenly retired last month. Quarterbacks today have learned to feel the rush coming from the edge, Baldinger said. The thing that really bothers them is if they can't step up in the pocket because there's pressure coming up the middle. That's where somebody like Nelson is so valuable. Sometimes, he's blocking 2 guys on every play. He's like a good plumber, fixing every leak. Every current team wants a guard like that. Bill Pennington. Offenses sometimes align wide receivers against Deion Jones, the Atlanta Falcons' star middle linebacker, looking for a coverage mismatch. As a rookie, in 2016, he promised coach Dan Quinn that it was unnecessary to check out of the call and put a defensive back there he could handle it. Now when it happens, Jones just smirks. I like going against guys who I am not usually supposed to be matched up against and doing pretty well, Jones said in a telephone interview. At 6 foot 1 and 222 pounds, Deion Jones is, unofficially, the fastest middle linebacker in the league. He uses that speed to cover, to converge on, to chase down the hybridized position players quarterbacks are throwing to say, fleet running backs like the Panthers saw Christian McCaffrey, or bigger, pass-catching tight ends like the Chiefs' Travis Kelce. Few defenses feature linebackers who are fast, long, and athletic enough to defend both. You better be able to match up in the pass game if you are going to last in this league, because if you don't eat really hard, Quinn said in a telephone interview. The old days, we might have said, he can be a first, or second down player. You can't say that anymore. Jones plays 3 downs because Quinn trusts him to cover and tackle, making certain that a 5-yard pass stays a 5-yard pass. He has always been fast. Jones's father, Cal, dubbed him Debo, a portmanteau of Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson. The Falcons watched Jones run the 40-yard dash at his pro day in 4.38 seconds. As another Louisiana State star, receiver Odell Beckham Jr., did at the League's scouting combine in 2014 and envisioned the force he would become. Since Atlanta drafted Jones in the 2nd round in 2016, only Alec Ogletree of the Giants has had as many interceptions, 8, according to Pro Football Reference, though Jones missed 10 games last season with a foot injury. Jones's 27 passes defended over that span rank second only to Ogletree. The Falcons proved how much they valued Jones by signing him to a 4-year, $57 million extension in July. More and more, Quinn has noticed facsimiles, developed to douse high-powered college offenses, emerging as robust NFL prospects. In the last 2 years, 3 teams used top 10 picks on players they projected as their own sideline-to-sideline coverage dynamos: Roquan Smith, Bears, 2018, Devin White, Buccaneers, 2019, and Devin Bush, Steelers, 2019. What's remarkable, Quinn said, is that had any of them reported to 49 ERS training camp in 2001, his first year coaching in the NFL, they would have been considered safeties. Not anymore. Now they look like the present, and future, of inside linebackers. Ben Shpigel. The Chargers list Desmond King as a cornerback only, it seems, to conform to the traditional football vernacular. In their scheme, he serves as a linebacker on some plays. On others, he acts as a safety. On occasion, he blitzes from the slot. He makes tackles in space. He gets off blocks and supports the run. These are the duties of the modern nickelback, a position that has evolved from third down piece to indispensable component for defenses that seek to combat the NFL's passing revolution. Last season, 67% of all offensive snaps came with at least 3 receivers, according to the Football Outsiders Almanac, up from 58.8% in 2013. More than ever, teams are valuing shorter throws, regularly shifting their best receivers inside to stress defenses. To counter, defenses have adapted by deploying slot corners like King, who performs his responsibilities as well as, if not better than, his peers. He has allowed only 1 touchdown from the slot across his first 2 seasons, according to Pro Football Focus, and among the 37 players with at least 300 coverage snaps in that span, King has received the highest coverage grade. If I am putting together a defense right now, the slot corner, along with pass rusher, is the most important position, said the former NFL safety Matt Bowen, now an analyst for ESPN's NFL matchup. The league's best nickelbacks tend to share traits: superior instincts, toughness, and short area quickness, and pedigrees. Since teams prefer their cornerbacks big, tall, and fast, average height players such as the 5'10", 200-pound King or another identically sized star, Chris Harris Jr. of Denver tend to get drafted late, if at all. King thought he would go far earlier than the 5th round, when the Chargers took him in 2017. At Iowa, he roamed the secondary but mostly patrolled the outside. The Chargers perceived him as a distressed asset. but they were captivated enough by the College Defensive Back of the Year, 2015, and his explosive breaks and ball skills, 14 interceptions, to believe that King's skills would transfer to the NFL. King has returned 2 of his 4 interceptions for touchdowns, against Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson, and earned All-Pro honors as a defensive back and punt returner, second team. You're always trying to position guys to give them the best chance to make the most plays, Gus Bradley, the Chargers' defensive coordinator, said after a recent practice in Costa Mesa, California, and we wanted to get him around the ball a lot. As he continues to adjust, King studies film of great corners. He examines how Charles Woodson blitzed. He marvels at Darrelle Revisa's patience. He tries to emulate Ron Barbara's physical style. Each, for a spell, set the standard at his position, just as King is seeking to do. Ben Shpigel. The N.F.L.'s offensive revolution has deeper roots than the narrative of the last few seasons would suggest. The creators of the college game's air raid scheme believe the Patriots have been running something similar for years. But the rise of Los Angeles Rams coach Sean McVay has teams on watch for the next boy genius. The enthusiasm sprouted a coaching tree from the 33-year-old McVay. His former offensive coordinator, Matt LaFleur, was named head coach in Green Bay, and his former quarterbacks coach, Zach Taylor, took the top job in Cincinnati. No team was more aggressive in looking for the next young thing than the Dallas Cowboys, who named Kellen Moore, all of 30 years old and just 2 years removed from his playing career, as the team's offensive coordinator. Moore is expected to call his own plays from the sideline despite the Cowboys' head coach, Jason Garrett, having preferred to handle those duties himself in the past. Garrett was hardly alone in that preference. 20 of the NFL's 32 head coaches came up through the offensive side, and at least 15 of them are expected to handle their own offensive play calling in 2019. San Francisco's Kyle Shanahan and McVay have gone as far as eliminating the position of offensive coordinator entirely rather than pretending that their offenses are run by anyone else. Moore shares the distinction of being a first-year coordinator calling plays with Byron Leftwich, 39, who coaches under Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay. The other 8 offensive coordinators hired under offensively minded coaches this offseason will not be afforded play calling privileges. The big question, as the regular season begins, however, is if Moore and Leftwich can hang on to their power once their bosses get itchy. The trend to consolidate power at the head coach level, after all, developed for a reason. I know it's going to be hard in September, Arians told reporters recently. But maybe I can be a better game manager because I am not cussing out refs and calling plays. Benjamin Hoffman.